Hi, I'm Sarah Cowgill, along with Andrew Moran, Dave Patterson, Graham Noble, and John Clark. And this is the Conservative Five, Liberty Nation's online TV news program. Joe Biden has been teasing the idea of shutting down the border, or at least cracking down on unchecked illegal immigration flooding into the U.S. He's relying upon the 72-year-old Immigration Authority, Section 212F, to bar migrant asylum claims. Yeah, that's not even close to happening. And here's a new wrinkle. Asylum seekers, or I call them sneakers, are flooding in from China and Turkey. What could possibly go wrong now? Anyway, do we notice that all the border crosses are not from Central and South America anymore? Graham, what's the Biden play here?
Well, the Biden play actually hasn't changed at all. What happened not that long ago, really, was that the Democrats and the Biden White House, it finally dawned on them that, this massive waves of illegal aliens coming into the country and dispersing throughout the country is for some reason not as popular as we thought it would be among the American people. So their strategy now is very simple. It's the same as the strategy they use with the economy. The White House and Karine Jean-Pierre up there behind the podium in the in front of the press corps, and other Democrats and Joe Biden himself will tell us over and over again, the economy is actually great. And, wages are up, inflation's down, everything's fantastic. If you believe, you might believe that it's a bad economy because somebody's, brainwashed you into thinking that, but it's not true. Everything is great. They're doing exactly the same now with immigration. And this last executive action was a good example of it. Essentially, it wasn't worth the paper it was written on. That, assuming that, I'm old school. So, I remember when people still use pens to write on things. But it's just not worth anything. It's got if you like, it's got a million loopholes in it. And it's literally for show, because what the Biden administration is now doing with immigration is they're simply telling people, no, we're fixing it. We fixed the border. It's okay. There's not a problem, and don't believe your lying eyes. So that's what's happening. So the playbook hasn't changed, and the playbook has always been open borders. And they don't even seem to be concerned that just very recently, I think within the last few days, I nearly said the word gentleman, but I shouldn't use that word to describe these people. 8 men from Tajikistan have been arrested in this country. They all crossed the border pretty much together. They all have links to ISIS, and they were, I guess the FBI's counter-terrorist task force was tapping their phones and listening to their conversations, and they were reportedly actually having conversations about bombs. So all the evidence suggests that this was a terror cell that entered this country with the intention of doing bad things to Americans. And okay, now they've been arrested, but how many more of those are out there floating around in this country? I hate to be one of these people I never like to fearmonger, but at the same time, we literally have no idea how many terrorists or potential terrorists we have in this country. But yeah, Biden playbook, very simple. It's always been open borders, and it's still open borders. They're just trying to pretend now that they're doing something about it, which they're not.
Right after 9/11, we used to hear on the news reports that the terror threat level, it increased from nothing to bright red or orange or whatever the color was. Dave, if you've got people coming in from all over the place that nobody seems to know how they got here or what the hell they're up to, who could increase that threat level? I mean, has it been increased and we just don't know about it?
Absolutely. I mean, the FBI Director Wray has been talking about this since January in earnest, and most recently in his testimony before the House Appropriations Committee, he reiterated his growing concern. He flat out said that since October 7th, he has not seen the level of danger as high as it is today. And he talks about, the cartels, the fentanyl, dangerous drugs in every corner of the country, as well as foreign terrorists. And, as Graham pointed out, the more frightening thing about the fact that these 8 Tajikistanis got into the country was that when the Border Patrol did the criminal background checks, it came out clean, and it wasn't until the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force watch list identified these people. So what you know for sure is that the Border Patrol does not have any discussion or any way to cross-link their databases with the FBI. And that should be extremely concerning. It's precisely where we were prior to 9/11, where the FBI and the CIA did not talk to one another. And you add to that, Sarah, that even with the cap on that Biden is so excited about, that it still means that 1 million illegal aliens will be crossing annually, which is a record high number. And of that, most recently, 25,000 of those illegal aliens were Chinese nationals, and most of them were military-aged males. So you can talk they can waive the executive order all they want to, but it still allows, as Graham so rightly said, the illegal alien flood to keep coming at us. And it looks as though until something drastically changes in the White House, that's the way it's going to be.
I mean, even the sanctuary city mayors, they've all basically caved and said, hey, we can't take care of these people. They didn't give a rat's hiney, when Texas was being overrun. But now they're seeing the full effects of what it does with crime and with poverty and with housing. And you can't fix that. They can't fix that. And it's got to be the biggest burden on American taxpayers of anything we do, probably including war, because that's over and done with. You get in, you get out, unless, well, we didn't in a couple of things, but how are the taxpayers getting just creamed on this, Andrew?
The border inaction has cost taxpayers a lot of money. There was the House Budget Committee. It recently published a report using data from the Federation for American Immigration Reform, or FAIR, and it highlighted that the border crisis is costing taxpayers approximately $150 billion a year. And much of this burden is falling on state and local governments. And remind you, this is a conservative estimate. So where's this money going to? So according to the data, $73 billion is going on education, $22 billion on law enforcement, and $19 billion on medical care. Now, we're constantly told that illegal immigrants are net contributors to society because they're taking jobs that American people don't want, and they're going to prevent the vegetables from rotting, according to Jerry Nadler. And this is something Liberty Nation News has debunked. But the FAIR numbers show that illegal immigrants only generate $32 billion in tax revenue. So the gross cost is actually $182 billion for illegal immigration. So by comparison, just for argument's sake, Trump's border wall had a price tag estimate of $22 billion. So $182 billion for illegal immigration compared to $22 billion that may have prevented a large chunk of the illegal immigrants crossing the border.
We'll see if you can do the math. What would my taxes go up over this?
Good. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me get a calculator. I think I get a calculator. Hold on. So you do 300 million divided by 150 billion. So that's 600, 320 billion, trillion, 300, 200 billion dollars.
It's a lot.
A lot.
Anyway.
And
Anyway.
Andrew probably needs to go on meds now. So, back in the day, I mean, I grew up, as a farm kid, and back in the day, between planting and harvest, we bussed in every person we could get to work in the fields. And they came in, they worked, they took their money, and they went home. And it was all above board. It was all legal. All of the big companies did it, Green Giant and they just did. And that's how things used to work in the 60s and 70s. And it just doesn't work that way anymore. And
Well,
we don't know what they're doing when they get here.
it's never been, they've always said this, oh, the illegals will do the jobs Americans aren't willing to do. No, that's never been true. What is true is that illegals will do the jobs for half the wages that any reasonable American would have expected to get paid for that same job. And that's the thing. And that's, of course, why the big corporations love illegal immigration. And of course, they're the ones who are donating, tens of millions of dollars to the politicians who it's then in their interest to also advocate for illegal immigration. But the other side of the mass migration story is that it is good for business.
If I may just intervene very quickly here, that is the talking point for the White House. The White House keeps saying how illegal immigration has been great for the economy, and it's one of the reasons why the labor market has been intact. And if you look at some of the reports, so the CBO, it says that because of illegal immigration or immigration in general, they conflate the two, GDP will grow by $1 trillion over the next decade. If you look at also on the jobs front, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, and this is something that Liberty Nation has also reported on over the past year, you see foreign-born workers getting more of the jobs than native-born workers since October 2019. And actually, native-born work has been flat, but foreign-born workers getting the jobs has actually rocketed. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics factors in both legal and illegal immigrants into the numbers. And according to some estimates from, let's say, JP Morgan, for example, they believe that the illegal immigrants are taking a lot of those jobs that are factored into the foreign-born workers category in the BLS numbers.
And most of those jobs are the entry-level jobs that the workforce expects to take and then graduate through the workforce so that they can come up into the middle class. But unfortunately, those base level jobs are taken by illegal aliens and others.
Well, I had a brief conversation with John Clark about this, and he makes it seem a little spookier than maybe we've explained so far. And so I want to bring him in on this discussion and find out where we sit. Where was this great, epiphany you had?
Well, I think actually Graham unintentionally hit on it when he pointed out that nothing's changed in the Biden administration's border policies. It's gaslighting. It seems to be that gaslighting or drinking one's own Kool-Aid has become a national mantra now. Sort of like inflation. Oh no, what inflation? That inflation's not going up. It's much lower now that I'm here to rescue you. Wages, et cetera. And in the discussion about wages, yes, the corporate favoritism of illegal immigrants who will work in our meat processing and other factories for very low wages has undercut the U.S. wages, while the Biden administration keeps touting its high-paying jobs that it's creating. You can't have it both ways. When it comes to the border, what struck me was, how do you regulate asylum seekers when most of the people coming through our porous borders aren't stopping to check in at the front desk? How do you even implement it? I mean, the whole thing seemed to be sort of a surreal scam ab initio from the beginning of when they proposed this. And of course, we see now these numbers have already been exceeded out of the gate. And aside from the economic issues, we also have issues of terrorist cells or fentanyl trafficking. Those aren't people that are going to stop at the door. And the whole thing has just become a fabric of folly. And that's why I think, Graham unintentionally was showing us this is just more gaslighting, whether it's inflation, borders, or mental acuity. If we just keep saying the truth is that the president is on the top of his game and inflation is under control and the border has been secured, that maybe people will believe it. And I don't think it's working so well anymore.
I think all you have to do is see that video that shows him frozen at a Juneteenth party. Everybody's boogieing and grooving, and he's just standing there like,
That's kind of boring.
I have a message. I have a message to all those who say I'm not fit for the job. Watch me.
Come on, guys. Come on, man.
Come on, man. All right.
Jack.
Well, I think we knew this was going to be our US of A. Joe Biden took office. If there's a way out, we'll let you know. If you want to keep up with all of the antics of immigration, go to Liberty Nation News and check it out. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks, panel. That's it for our Conservative 5 panel today. Check out our other C5 shows and segments on your favorite video platform. YouTube, Vimeo, Rumble, we're on them all. As well, Liberty Nation has its own Roku channel where you can see all of our TV productions. I'm your host, Sarah Cowgill. Thanks for joining us today. For free thinking, free speech, libertynation.com.